It all started in Newfoundland, sitting, of course, a half hour ahead of the rest of Atlantic Canada. It claimed the title, the first to reach legalization. And there was excitement in the air as the very first sales went down.
3, 2, 1. Job done.
There it was, one of the first sales of legal cannabis in this country just after the stroke of midnight. Let's head outside that very store, and our Peter Cowan, who's covering the story for us, and once again leading off, I heard the cheers, the applause, sounded pretty festive there last night, Peter.
Absolutely, Heather, but I want to show you what it's like here this morning. We're about a half an hour away from this store opening, and this is the lineup, or I guess really lack thereof. They've got all the stanchions up ready to corral people, but so far nobody has shown up to line up this morning. I think a lot of the people who were really excited about this, they were the ones who were lining up late last night here at the stroke of midnight, because it was a very different scene at that time, because there were a lot of people who wanted to witness that moment of finally, after years and years of them buying and smoking it illegally, to be able to walk in, buy a gram of marijuana, get a receipt for it, was definitely a bit of a novelty. And for some of those people who went in and bought their first legal weed, here's what the moment was like for them.
I feel great. The stigma ends tonight. Prohibition has ended right now. We just made history.
And it is surreal. Even right now, I'm actually so excited, and I can't wait to make my first purchase. That's actually legal.
$25.97, sir.
Woo! Here we go.
Thank you.
To know that that it's legal, it's been legal for me for years, but to know that it's opening doors.
It's also not just users, though, that are excited about legalized cannabis. Of course, it's the companies that stand to make some big money, including Canopy, one of the biggest companies, and the company that owns the store. And the CEO flew in on his private plane last night in order to be there for that moment.
I had people with tears coming up saying, I can't believe what I'm seeing. And, you know, that's a pretty emotional minute for a lot of people who've had to work for a lifetime.
So they're just getting ready to open the doors. Heather, it'll be about half an hour before people are able to walk in again and buy some more legal marijuana.
And we'll see. I thought it was interesting, Peter, as you let us hear what was happening. We got a little bit of the indication of the pricing there for what's going to be charged. I want to ask you about supply. We've talked in recent days about shortage concerns, supply concerns. I noticed online, Alberta Cannabis, for example, the online sales in the province of Alberta, already up this morning. Hang tight, we'll get to you shortly because there are some issues getting supply there. What about supply at that particular store? How's it holding up?
Interestingly, Heather, we've been checking in with some of the stores that were open at midnight last night, and one of the other stores, in total they sold about 520 grams, and in fact the pre-rolled marijuana joints, well, they've completely sold out of them, and they're not expecting to get restocked for a couple of days. So we are expecting that supply is going to be tight. And in fact, out of the 7 suppliers that have been approved here in Newfoundland and Labrador, only 2 of them were able to ship product for opening day today. So the selection is certainly much more limited now than they're expecting it to be once they get all the wrinkles ironed out on this new venture that everyone's getting into.
Day 1. Hours old. Thank you very much, Peter. I'll be back to you later on in the next hour, and we'll be back to see what happens business-wise there in that store. Well, people arriving behind you now, maybe the lineup, or they're leaving. I'm not sure, but people gathering, and we'll be back to check on things with you, Peter, in just a little bit later on.